Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Friday Night Comics, where we're going to talk about some comics and pop culture news. How's everybody in the chat doing? I see L Wolf, how you doing? Random, hi. Okie, how you doing? Let's see who else we got here. Ginger Snap, Old Guy Gamer, TOS. How's everyone doing tonight? Sorry about the slight delay there. Had a few things I had to take care of before I could stream. I'm doing okay. A little tired. I got a lot going on, and the heat's really kicking my ass. Other than that, I'm all right. Well, I got a fair number of news articles that I thought would be interesting, some of which I haven't read yet, so we'll get to see them together. And one of them is about the new Transformers movie, which I can't believe they're doing another one. But, what are you going to do? Hey, Evolved, how you doing? Well, let's just dive right into it and see what we got here. Let's talk about the Transformers first. As soon as I find the tab for it. Hey, Costin, how you doing, man? Yeah, they're going to do another one. It's Transformers 7. New set photos show Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. But this time, we got the classic designs. Unless that's BJ and the Bear in there. That is old school Optimus. And, well, somewhat more classic Bumblebee. Optimus Prime and Bumblebee's... Oh, this is Screen Rant, by the way. Optimus Prime and Bumblebee's vehicles' forms are shown in the new set photos for Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Paramount Pictures and Michael Bay made the Transformers franchise one of the biggest in the world over nearly 15 years. Yeah, well, that's a way of putting it. However, the future of the franchise lies with a new canon and mythology that 2018's Bumblebee helped relaunch. The film's success led Paramount to work with Creed 2's Stephen Caple Jr. to help develop the seventh film in the Transformers franchise. Is it really the seventh film in the franchise if it's a reboot? Wouldn't this be kind of like the second film and Bumblebee's like a hardcore reboot? After working on multiple ideas for the new film, Paramount revealed earlier this year that Transformers Rise of the Beasts is what will come next. The movie will star Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback in a story set in 1994. Transformers 7 will feature a live-action debut of different Beast Wars characters such as Optimus Primal, but it will also continue to include some of the most recognizable Autobots, Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. The two heroes have been in all the previous Transformers movies because they're the two most popular. Transformers Rise of the Beast is currently in production with Caple Jr., bringing his fresh vision to life. The start of the film has meant several updates on the movie, especially since this is when Paramount decided to reveal multiple details about the movie. But the Transformers 7 news rush won't end just because official details are no longer being shared. New set photos from the movie are circulating online as filming continues. The latest leak features the first look at Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. And it said, check out the pictures. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's a truck and a car. Woo! Yeah, it looks like the toys. Caple previously said that the G1 Transformers design would return in Rise of the Beasts, and that these new set photos mostly back up that claim. Bumblebee's G1 design was previously used in Bumblebee, but at the end of the movie saw him trade in the Volkswagen look for a Camaro. This design is what Bumblebee will continue to have in Transformers 7. In fact, both the Autobots look nearly identical to how they looked at the very end of the 2018 film. Do they? Optimus Prime has added a big grille guard, so it's slightly different silver line across the cab. Silver. That looked almost white. Whatever. These new images of Bumblebee and Optimus Prime should continue to increase excitement in the movie. Blah, blah, blah. While the Michael Bay version had its fans, plenty of viewers also liked how Bumblebee simplified the design and transformations. I don't really know anyone that was in love with the Michael Bay version. It was too many gears and trinkets and stuff. It was busy looking. It'll be interesting to see how Cable evolves the transformation sequence of this movie, especially with the Maximals, Predacons, and Terrorcons involved. There'll be plenty of transforming in the next film with all these characters, so now fans will just have to wait to see what Optimus and Bumblebee's alternate forms look like in Rise of the Beast. Well, hopefully they look more like the original. And hopefully they don't kill Optimus this time, because that's so trite. But yeah, it actually looks cool. Looks like the original toy, more or less. I guess they added a grill guard on him in this picture. Yeah, so that's your Transformers update. Hopefully they don't fuck this one up like they did with the Michael Bay franchise. Like the Silver Frost. So, yeah, I don't know. Why would you have Beast Wars in modern day? I don't know, man. Toy sales? And technically it's 1994, so that's sort of like a long time ago now. You know what? I grew to hate the Transformers movies. The first couple were okay. Too much humans. Same problem you have with like the King Kong and Godzilla movies. But I just got bored with them. And they got progressively more boring as they went. Like they were trying way too hard at the end there. Silver Frost. If Cybertron looked in Bumblebee movie so cool and cartoony. Yeah, if they would stick with the original, it would have been way cooler. That would have brought in the nostalgia crowd. Yeah, it's still modern day. I get you, but they introduced them in the comics and the original cartoon, I think, too, just to make more sales. Yeah, it drives me nuts, Elwolf. I do not like that. Hey, Lindsay, how you doing? With a sparkle to it. Yeah, that's pixie dust. That's where the Michael Bay's it's the sparkles hidden in his light or his coloring, just to piss me off. I know it's not all about me, but sometimes it feels like they're just trying to make me mad. Oh, I'm okay, Lindsay. Just tired and busy and a little dehydrated, probably. They throw a pony in what? I was just talking about the new Transformers movie. It's currently filming. And the release photos weren't that exciting. I thought they'd be a little more exciting than that. But boy, talk about reaching. All right, speaking of movies, Black Widow movie. This is from Bounding into Comics. Black Widow writer confirms Tony Stark cameo was cut. Director says decision was made to keep male Avengers out of the movie. With their evil masculine identifying genitalia. Ugh, evil men with their evil male penises. Black Widow writer Eric Pearson recently claimed that a Tony Stark cameo was cut from an earlier version of the film's script, while the film's director Kate Shortland revealed that an executive decision was made to ensure no male Avengers would show up in this movie. Ugh, men, am I right, ladies? Speaking with comicbook.com's podcast Phase Zero, Pearson was asked about the Tony Stark rumors that had been circulating before the film's release and if there was any validity to them. Oh, look at that. Wow. Okay. Pearson answered, I feel bad for the person who asked me the other day because I said there was never any discussion, but I do remember now that one version of the script prior to me literally had written into it the end moment of Civil War with Tony and Natasha of like, I'm the one who has to watch my... He continued, but it was old footage. It would have been, hey, audience, remember when we are where we are? We're going to key off this moment of hers. So it wouldn't have been Robert Downey, at least the best of my knowledge. That's the only time I ever saw Tony Stark's name in, was just kind of a flag planted, a reminder that, hey, we're right at the end of Civil War. Spoiler alert, there may be some spoilers in here. So if you don't want to see spoilers, go away for like 2 minutes and come back. Be sure and come back, and be sure and hit like and subscribe. And then throw money at my Streamlabs. Pearson then recalled, I remember when those rumors came out, I was in London in our war room office. Don't call it that. And I just looked around and I was like, am I supposed to be, I have the script right here, Tony Stark's not in it. And everyone was like, no, did you see anything? No, we didn't. Oh, God, they all talk like fucking idiots. I don't know where it came from unless somebody got a very old version where this kind of scene, which wasn't even a new scene, I don't know. I don't know where it came from, he stated. You're stumbling around, dude. Pearson went on to reveal that he wrote a Captain Marvel screenplay that is 100% different than the version that came out. Well, it probably couldn't be worse. While Pearson confirmed there was indeed a Tony Stark cameo using Civil War footage in an earlier script, Black Widow director Kate Shortland revealed in an interview with Total Film that Kevin Feige made the executive decision to ensure no male Avengers were showcased in the film. Shortland explained initially there was discussion about everything, about all the different characters. What we decided was, and I think Kevin was really great, he said, she doesn't need the boys. They're not even men, they're just boys. She doesn't need no penis bearers. We didn't want it to feel like she needs the support. We want her to stand alone, and she does. However, at the end of the day, Black Widow doesn't stand alone. They introduced Red Guardian, Yelena Belova, and Milena Voskov to help her out. Yeah, look, he's sort of a man. We'll get to that in a minute. If this sounds familiar, it's because it's a very similar response to what Kevin Feige gave for why Doctor Strange was not included in WandaVision. Oh, it sounds very much like they don't like men anymore in the MCU. Like we had them build something up, and now we're going to go in and tell them to fuck right off. That sounds familiar. Feige explained they actually had a deal in place to have Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange show up, but then went on to tell why they ended up cutting him out. He said, I haven't talked about this before, but we had a deal with Benedict to pop up at the end of WandaVision or somewhere in WandaVision. He continued, because we knew we wanted to connect them. Wanda's next appearance is the second Doctor Strange movie. Next year's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And wouldn't it be great? But as we worked on the show and on the movie, we realized there was no reason to really do it. I mean, penis, really? I mean, Vision doesn't have one. As for why he was cut, he told Rolling Stone, some people might say, oh, it would have been cool to see Doctor Strange, but it would have taken away from Wanda. You mean the crazy bitch that controlled an entire town and made them do what she wanted? Yeah, real subtractive. I mean, she's cute and all, but for fuck's sake, that's dumb. How would that... She's the star of the show. How would that... we didn't want the end of the show to be commoditized, whatever, to the next movie. So here's the white guy. Let me show you how power works, he concluded. Fuck off. He is the Sorcerer Supreme. They keep watering that down. He is supposed to be the best wizard around. Or sorcerer, or whatever. Feige's explanation for Doctor Strange, especially the part about commoditizing the show for the next film, is a load of crap, given that he clearly pitched the Disney Plus shows as interconnected to the MCU. Preach. At Brazil CCXP 2019, Feige stated, after Endgame thinking, what can we do next? Disney Plus is going to give us the opportunity to tell even deeper stories with characters you already know and love in a new type of cinematic way that we haven't done before. We've already started shooting 2 of them, and they're very, very special. Oh, they're special, all right. Yeah, It all, for the first time, will interlink, so the MCU will be on your TV screen, at home on Disney Plus, and interconnected to movies. And they go back and forth. It's exciting to expand the MCU in bigger and even better heights. Yeah, it could be cool, but they decided to opt out for PC bullshit and telling your truth. Although she looks really hot in that costume. Really hot. Call me Elizabeth Olsen. On top of this, the ending of Loki. Oh, spoilers for Loki. Also shows just how full of crap Feige's explanation is, as he revealed something at the end of Loki that ties in with the next big event. So yeah, were they really going to use recycled footage, or are they just talking shit now that they got outed? I heard that these two don't like each other. That was a rumor going around that they were having difficulty working with each other, and I'm guessing it's because this girl's prettier and can actually do a Russian accent, unlike this hack with the weird moon face. So, but we'll talk more Black Widow here in a little bit. Yeah, they had to erase them all, Kyler. And hi, Kyler. Spoiler, it's trash. Yeah, well, you know. Would anyone have noticed if no one said anything? I don't know. I don't plan on watching it. I think Midnight's Edge gave it a favorable review. Yeah, I've heard really mixed things about it. I have no desire to see this movie. It just doesn't look that good. It looks very lazy. And I already had the twist ruined for me by another one of those assholes at the comic shop that can't keep their fucking mouth shut and they like spoiling movies. And I was like, yeah, that's predictable. Focus on the ladies, not bragging about not having men. Yeah, we're busy having the Bechdel test pass here. Wasn't planning on watching Loki either. Didn't like this character outside of the first Thor. It picked up toward the end. I mean, they completely changed the character, but the story got better near the end. Yeah, Jim, I'd probably go for that. I'd be looking at Florence Pugh, whatever her name is, that chick. I'd be looking in her eyes. Not that washed up Thunder Thigh has been, who's probably banged half of Hollywood. I might see if they put it for free on Disney Plus, because they'll still have that till November. It probably will be on there by then. Alrighty, let's see. What should we look at? Let's look at some toys next. There's a cool new Boba Fett toy coming out that I thought was worth checking out. This thing's going to be mad expensive, though. This is from comicbook.com. Star Wars The Mandalorian Boba Fett figure with throne debuts from Hot Toys. Now, you might have to enlarge your screen a little bit to see this, but there's some more pictures near the end. This is a really cool looking toy. You got Boba Fett and Mulan here. Forget where Ming-Na Wen, whatever her character's name was. Generic insert. And then this cool Hutt throne and this awesome gun. The armor's been repainted and touched up, and there's like what looks like a lot of cloth on here. Hot Toys randomly dropped a bunch of new 6th scale Marvel figures today, including a black and gold suit Spider-Man from No Way Home. That'd be the Iron Spider suit, I think. Something similar. Black Widow, Iron Man, and Iron Strange concept series. However, the best release of the bunch is arguably the new Boba Fett figure based on his appearance in Star Wars The Mandalorian on Disney+. He's depicted in his repainted armor and comes with a standalone figure as part of a set with throne. I'm not giving a spoiler alert on this because you've had like a year to watch the show, so you're on your own on that one. Usually 2 weeks is my limit on spoilers. The standard figure features a detailed Mandalorian helmet, an armored jetpack, flamethrower effect, a fiber cord whip, a blaster, a rifle, and display base. The throne is included in a special set along with a head sculpt of Tamara Morrison as Boba Fett. A special edition of both the standalone figure and the throne set will include a Razor Crest hologram and Boba Fett starship hologram. You know, Slave One. Pre-order and price details on the Mandalorian Boba Fett Hot Toys releases haven't been announced, although they are expected to arrive at Sideshow Collectibles as early as today. July 14th update, pre-orders are live at Sideshow for $245 and $390. The Marvel figures that Hot Toys released today are also expected to go up for pre-order today. A full list of features can be found below, followed by a gallery of images. Okay, so here's the list of features. Authentic and detailed likeness of Boba Fett in Star Wars The Mandalorian. One meticulously crafted helmeted head with articulated rangefinder. That's kind of cool. Specially applied distress effects on armor, weapons, and accessory. Body with over 30 points of articulation, including his beer belly. Approximately 30 centimeters tall. 6 pieces of interchangeable gloved hands, including 1 pair of fists, 1 pair of relaxed hands, 1 pistol holding hand, 1 gesture right hand. Costume: 1 Boba Fett's Mandalorian armor and vest with distressed effects, 1 pair of brownish red gauntlets with withering effects, 1 grayish black colored long sleeves shirt, 1 brown belt with pistol holder, 1 brown black colored roped belt, 1 pair of brownish black colored pants, 1 pair of black colored boots, 1 yellow right knee guard with withering effects. Weapons: get a blaster and a rifle. Accessories: jetpack with distressed effects, flamethrower effect accessory attachable to gauntlet, 1 fiber cord whip, specially designed figure stand with Star Wars logo and character nameplate, the 1/6 scale throne collectible set specialty features authentic and detailed likeness of the throne in Star Wars Mandalorian, specially applied multi-layered painting with withering effects and natural stone texture, approximately 34 centimeters long by 16 centimeters wide and 20.5 centimeters tall. Special accessories for collectible set edition: 1 newly painted head sculpt of Tamaria Morrison as Boba Fett, highly articulate facial expressions, detailed wrinkles, and skin texture. Each piece of head sculpt is specially hand painted. Exclusive bonus accessories for the special edition: 1 Razor Crest hologram and 1 Slave One hologram. Note, if you purchase one of the awesome independently chosen products featured here, we may earn a small commission from the retailer. Thank you for your support. Yeah, whatever. Find a way to buy it without these assholes. Hot Toys of Mandalorian Boba Fett. Now, check out the detailing on this. It's actually pretty good. This actually looks really badass. And here's the little hologram ships. I don't really care about those. But the backpack looks great. Got the helmet. Got a nice close-up of the helmet here. And here's the set number 2, Boba Fett Repaint armor and throne. So the armor looks, I think, the same. Yeah, slightly different. Maybe. Yeah, probably not. It's just got his head. There's more human head. There's the big throne. You can see it's even got the bullet dent in the head. And this is supposed to be articulated, so you can move that down. You can pose him on the throne looking all badass. Get 2 of them and have him bodyguard himself. See, that looks really, really good. And for the price, it should. I mean, it's nearly $400 for the big set. It's even got the Mandalore on there. Yeah, really, really cool looking. This is pretty big, too. 1/6 size is pretty nice. I don't know about the human head. I don't really care about that. I want him with the helmet on. But yeah, that is pretty sweet looking. The detail work looks really, really good. Of course, if you get the chick, too, you can always have them banging on here. So, yep. pretty sweet looking set. If you got the money, this looks like a pretty cool display piece. But it is pricey. But I thought it was worth checking out because it looked really cool. Hey, Monkey. No worries, man. Hey, Johnny. Yeah, I largely checked out of Star Wars too after I watched The Mandalorian and all the drama that followed through. Yeah, it's out of my price range too, Quinn, but it's cool looking. Yeah, the human head looks like one of those aliens from that Star Trek pilot where they have the big throbbing brains and made the lady all fucked up because they didn't know what a human looked like. Hey, Dark Resurrect, how you doing? Checked out after the pink-haired girl. Yeah, I don't blame you. There's a lot of crap in Disney. I checked out after Geode. Like, I was willing to cut them some slack up until, they found a way to get rid of Kennedy, but then they introduced a rock that was a navigator, and I was like, nope, I'm out. Oops. All right. Trying to get my stories organized here. All right, let's talk about reboot. Admiral Holdo. Yeah, Vice Admiral Gender Studies. Yeah, I don't blame you. Oh, yeah. Good call, Jim. I just wanted to bring back Pet Rocks. Yeah, they kind of did. Like, it was the laziest thing I've ever seen. So pathetic. But then again, what are you going to do? All right. They're rebooting Silverhawks. This is from Bounding Into Comics. The Nacelle Company announces reboot of 1980s Rankin and Bass animated sci-fi series Silverhawks. Now, there's worse properties they could reboot, but I'm guessing this one's going to be a person of color. You're going to be a hip-hop star. You're going to be black. Maybe you're going to be an American Indian. That's going to be not a symbol of evil freedom, but a commie bear. And you're going to be the other kind of bear. That's what I'm thinking. Lesser known but still beloved 1980s Rankin and Bass animated sci-fi series Silverhawks will soon be receiving a revival from the Nacelle Company. They're going to fuck this up so bad. The Nacelle Company, whose library of productions include Disney Plus's Behind the Attraction and Netflix's The Movies That Made Us and The Toys That Made Us, announced July 9th that they had partnered with Silverhawks LLC and current IP holder Super 7 to revive the cult classic series. Super 7 makes some pretty good toys. I mean, they're cool retro stuff, but they're definitely not for everyone, and they're a little pricey. Airing for one season in 1986, Silverhawks followed the titular team of metal-bodied heroes as they fought to protect the galaxy from the machinations of an intergalactic crime syndicate run by the millionaire mobster Monstar, whose villainy regularly brings him into conflict with Commander Stargazer and his team of futuristic lawmen. Oh my God, is Stargazer his daughter? Speaking with Deadline, Super 7 founder and owner Brian Flynn told the entertainment trade outlet that Silverhawks is a beloved franchise that has been overlooked for far too long. Yeah, which means it's time to ruin it. We are super excited to be working with Nacelle to bring Silverhawks back into the limelight for the diehard fans, as well as a new generation of fans to experience the magic of Silverhawks for the first time and destroy all your beloved memories. What's next? Jason the Wheeled Warriors? Flynn's sentiment was echoed by the Nacelle Company and founder and CEO Brian Volk Weiss, who exclaimed, "When I spoke with Brian Flynn the first time, I was like the character, yes, man. Yes, just tell me where to sign." As of writing, details on the show are scarce, and as such, casting details and distribution plans currently remain unknown. Are you excited for Silverhawks revival? Let us know your thoughts. Well, I would be, but they're going to fuck it up and make it woke trash like everything else. Like, she's already pretty close to having the side of her head shaved. So it's not a big stretch. It's probably going to happen. She's gonna be a strong, independent woman who doesn't need to. They're all gonna be dumb because they're men. I don't know what the hell that is, an elf or something, whatever. But yeah, I don't have any faith that's gonna be any good. Wasn't there other series Thundercats, but in space? Yeah, it's basically Thundercats, yeah, in space. Why reboot a mediocre cartoon series? Because all the people that watched it as kids now have their own children and or grandchildren. So profiting off of that is easy. They probably will all be lesbians, Monkey. You're not wrong. They'll have a fat non-binary person, whatever. Yeah, sorry, Giovanni, it's happening whether we wanted it to or not. We didn't ask for Thundercats Roar, we got that. We didn't want She-Ra, we got that. We'll change half or more to women. Yeah, probably. It'll be a Burger King Kids Club of gender dysphoria. The elf thing is going to be mega super gay with a lisp and wear high heels everywhere. Yeah, probably. Fat non-binary birthing person. They can't replace the weird copper kid. Oh, sure they can. He was only an alien because they couldn't have them those kinds then. Can you start over? I just got here. No, I'm sorry. SWAT cats. They'll probably bring that back at some point too. And they'll bring back cops, but they'll be the bad guys. And they'll just kneel on people's necks the whole time. Too soon. All right. Let's talk about Chuck Dixon. All right. Chuck Dixon explains why you can't buy a complete English version of The Joker, the Last Laugh trade paperback. This is from Bounding into Comics. Now, I thought this was actually very lazy on DC's part. Veteran comic book writer Chuck Dixon recently got a chance to talk about a rare occurrence in his career, namely a change of a comic book script after the art has been finished and the issue already hit the press. On episode 64 of his YouTube vlog series, Ask Chuck Dixon, he explained that changes late in the process really fall on the editors, and this difficulty had been extremely rare in his career. Giving an example of one of the uncommon instances, Dixon then recalled how he ran into trouble at Marvel when working on Savage Sword of Conan, because, as he puts it, he never knew where he was going to get from what he was going to get from the artist, and the book's mix of supernatural elements and historic action often clashed in ways that made no sense as a result. As recounted by Dixon, when a minor character was introduced in one issue strictly to give Conan someone to talk to and exchange witty banter with, he was given a flashback by the artist out of a horror movie where panther people attacked his village. Yet, despite the character's interesting backstory, they were never supposed to be seen again. A development which prompted Dixon to go to the editor at the time, Larry Hama, and request that the story be fixed, as in its then current state, it confused both of them and had nothing to do with the rest of the proceedings. You don't introduce a werewolf or vampire in Act 1 and never have him show up again, Dixon said. That's not how stories work. Yeah, you can't throw Panther Man in and be like, yeah, we're done with that. Eventually, they rewrote and redrew the ending to tack on a closing sequence, which wrapped up the Were-Panther side story, and though it corrected the problem, the new resolution still failed to go anywhere notable afterward. Ugh. However, his next out of the ordinary example, which happened when he was working for Marvel's main competitor, DC, had huge implications for one of the most memorable and seminal Batman tales, The Joker's Last Laugh. The crossover miniseries ran through December 2001 and January 2002 and handled the more unhinged than usual mental state of a dying Joker, who staged a prison break of inmates transformed or Jokerized to look like himself so the criminal could wreak havoc one last time with a bang. And this crossed over into several titles. It was an okay story. Too many crossovers, but that's usually how it goes. The problem presented itself at least partially when the series was assembled in a trade paperback form. Shortly before its publication, Dixon realized that from the listed page count on solicits that the first part of the story had been chopped off of the volume. When he escalated the issue to DC, they told him nothing could be done, as Dixon claimed that even though the trade would not be sold on Amazon for another year, DC argued that nothing could be done because the price point was set And that was not something they wanted to alter. Dixon further revealed that after offering him one excuse after another, Disney invited him to write an introduction to the collection without pay to fill in the gaps left behind by the omission of the story's opening act. If they were going to go to that trouble, why not just go back and fix it? However, at that point, the headache of the situation led Dixon to conclude that he no longer wanted to be involved in the trade's publication. To this day, the only way readers could get every installment of Joker's Last Laugh compiled in a lone trade paperback is to buy an edition in a language other than English. You could circumvent this discommoding and arduous task simply by finding the tale in its entirely digital on DC Universe Infinite and Comixology, or tracked on the back issues. So what they did was they took an entire first part of the story and left it out. And they're like, nah, we're already good. And they've never fixed it. That's pathetic. That tells you how lazy DC is. Oh, we already fixed the price point, so we don't want to actually give people the full story. Fucking lazy bastards, man. They cut the beginning of the comic, fucking hell. You're not wrong. No, I didn't see the Galactus reveal today. Mask and GoBots were fun. Galactus reveal. Hasbro Galactus. Let's look it up real quick. We're doing it live. Yeah, I'm in the United States. Fuck off with that. Oh, this looks pretty cool. It's $400. Jesus Christ. Why is everything so damn expensive? This is why those idiots are going broke. You're not wrong. All right, let's share this. This is from Hasbro Pulse. Marvel Legends series designed. Well, it looks like he's pretty posable. See, I got that one Galactus that I was using for my photo on here. My avatar image. That cost me $5 at a Goodwill, and you want me to spend $400 on this bad boy? I mean, it's pretty cool looking. Oh, there's his undead face. Detailing is really nice. Well, there's the back of his head in case you have some sick wishes or something. Fingers are posable. Look at that. Very articulate. Yeah. There's Angry Galactus. I hunger. That's the Food Aggression Amberlin Reed. All right, that's I gotta poop, get out of my way, Galactus. I have finished pooping, Galactus. That's how black holes are made. Galactus poops them. So it looks like a couple different facial features. Yeah, so that looks pretty cool. Funding ends in 45 days. Agree to the terms, $400. Yeah, probably some shipping on top of that. Yeah, you only got 45 days if you want to get this bad boy. Limit 5 per customer. If you have enough money to get 5 of those, wow. Good on you. All right, he's 32 inches or 812.8 millimeters. 300 pieces and 70 points of articulation, 20 points of articulation in each hand. LEDs in the head and chest, 4 AAA batteries required, not included. Why would they want to give you some $2 batteries? 3 swappable faceplate accessories for alternate expressions. Marvel Insider points redemption code, 70,000 points per purchase, limit 2 code redemptions per account. And all 3 digital comic issues of the Galactus trilogy. That's Fantastic Four 48 through 50. To read in the Marvel Comics app, who cares? Those are like $2. All right, so you get these 3 digital issues. They don't even give you physical copies of like facsimile editions, which would be fun. But these are seriously like $2 each on Comixology. But yeah, that's a sweet looking figure. $400 though that's a big drop. Yeah, that's pretty badass. All right, nice. $400 and no batteries. You could probably eBay them, Okie. Sure, people will buy them at probably twice the price. Free shipping for the U.S. That's not bad. Well, at $400, they probably could afford it. I switched it so I could have something a little more original, so I could put on Teespring store and because I don't make a lot of money doing this, so like the Teespring store sales really help out, and I needed some branding for that. I can't use Galactus because they'd sue me. So that's why I switched it. All right. Let's see. All right, let's go back to talking about the Mandalorian for a minute, because there's some interesting news coming out from comicbook.com. Star Wars The Mandalorian special focusing on Luke Skywalker's return is announced. Disney Plus will release a special episode of Disney Gallery The Mandalorian, digging into the reaction to Star Wars The Mandalorian second season finale. The title episode, Chapter 16, The Rescue, included a shocking surprise appearance by young Luke Skywalker. Many Star Wars fans were blown away watching Luke Skywalker in his post-Return of the Jedi Prime as a Jedi Knight, carving through Moff Gideon's Dark Troopers with his lightsaber and Force abilities. This newly announced Disney Gallery The Mandalorian special will showcase the technology the show used to bring Luke Skywalker back when it debuts on Disney Plus on August 25th. According to Disney's press release, Disney Gallery The Mandalorian Making the Season 2 Finale special episode is a behind-the-scenes look at making the celebrated chapter of The Mandalorian with a focus on the technology used for recreating Luke Skywalker. It delves into the collaborative process, including working with Mark Hamill to create an authentic and fitting recreation, and explores the immense pressure and responsibility the filmmakers had in bringing back one of the most important characters in film history. Series creator Jon Favreau spoke previously about how difficult it was to keep Luke Skywalker's surprise return in the Star Wars universe a secret. It was very tricky because it was very hard to keep a secret nowadays, especially with Star Wars, because people are so curious about it. I think Maury was trying to keep it a secret from Kathleen Kennedy. Favreau said during an appearance on Good Morning America, there are so many people involved in the process with visual effects, finishing, making it, filming it, the studios, everything. We were so scared right up until it aired that our surprise cameo was going to leak too. But we started off the whole series with the Baby Yoda reveal, with the Grogu reveal. That was a secret that everybody was really blown away by. Part of it is not telling too many people, not having merchandise that's tooled up and announced and that kind of thing. News comes on the same day that the Television Academy nominated The Mandalorian second season for 24 Emmy Awards. Those nominations include one of the category of Outstanding Drama Series. So, are you guys going to watch this? Because I actually might. Now, it is just like a behind-the-scenes special, but it would be kind of cool to see how they did that. And because Mark Hamill's all old and shit now, I want to see how they pulled that off. A lot of excitement in the chat for this one. Did anyone see Shatner's tweet from a few days ago? A guy asked if there's anything he could do to make better or fix. He replied, Star Wars. Yeah, that one surprised me at all. Shatner probably could bring some interest into Star Wars if he did it. I'd probably watch that, not gonna lie. Yeah, I think this is a good sign that they're trying to steer away from the Kennedy-verse and maybe salvage things at least a little bit. We'll have to wait and see, obviously, but I think there's some chance they're going to sideline the Disney trilogy and put it into like an Elseworlds thing. And this kind of reinforces that they're interested in making money off the characters people actually do like. And Favreau knows what he's doing, it seems. So hopefully they can fix this nonsense. All right, now let's talk about, speaking of Kathleen Kennedy, let's talk about representation. Variety says more LGBTQ representation is coming to the MCU. Marvel's Victoria Alonso says, exclusive. Now, Variety tends to get some pretty big exclusives, so this is actually not surprising that it'd be here. Get ready for more LGBTQ plus representation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so says Marvel Studios Executive Vice President of Film Production Victoria Alonso. Just days after it was revealed that Loki is fluid on Disney Plus spin-off series, I asked Alonso if that was a sign of queer things to come. God. It takes time. We have so many stories that we could tell, Alonso said at the Black Widow fan premiere in Hollywood, adding, we will empower those that are. We are not changing anything. We are just showing the world who these people are, who these characters are, by changing them, apparently. There's a lot that we have coming up that I think will have that will be representative of the world today. We're not going to nail it in the first movie or the second movie or third movie or the first show or the second show, but we will do our best to be consistently trying to represent. She just said, we will not change anything. There weren't that many gay characters in the MCU up until recently, and all they did was retcon a whole bunch of previous characters into being gay or whatever nonsense fake genders they are, like non-binary, whatever. Alonso also said that the decision to make Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, fluid wasn't as complicated as one might think. I have to be honest with you, it's not a big deal. She said, it is what it is when it suits the character. We're not going to do it because it's politically correct or incorrect. It is what it is, but you are doing it for that. Don't forget, we follow our comics. Yeah, okay. We try to follow them quite to the T, so in the comics, this is who he was. Yeah, in 2016, not before that, ever. Like 60 years of history just ignored. I also chatted with Black Widow screenwriter Eric Pearson at the fan event. He told me that he wrote the screenplay in just 11 days. Oh, that's confidence building. You know what else was written in like 2 weeks? Yeah, The Toxic Avenger Part 3. We got our good bones down meeting with Kevin Feige and producer Brian Chapek and director Kate Shortland and talking to Scarlett Johansson a lot. She was phoning in and then I was locking it in the document, and this was just like a blueprint, and once I knew what I was doing, I write fast. That was the first draft, but we did a lot of rewrites. Oh, I doubt that. Yeah, that's pretty much the article. This is just a short one saying that we're going to get more of this gender pandering nonsense coming our ways. The MCU is quickly going the way of Star Wars, in case you didn't know. Yeah, I pretty much checked out at the end of Endgame as well. Elwolf, Loki, blah, was a sidekick in his own show. Yeah, absolutely. But they had to change the Enchantress so that they could say that it's still Loki in charge. Stupid. What's to know? They found a body double and CGI'd Mark Hamill's face. No, Mark Hamill was on the set. He was actually there for some of that. There's rumored that they want Sebastian Stan to play him, the guy that plays Winter Soldier, to play Luke Skywalker in upcoming movies. That would be decent casting, but we'll see. Step 1, introduce Jean Grey. Step 2, bippity boppity gay. Yeah, pretty much just mind raping people. I'm just watching it burn. Yeah, it's amazing how much of Marvel has gone downhill. That Falcon Winter Soldier was so lazy. At least I could see some talent in the Loki stuff. I didn't really like it, but it did pick up near the end, at least story-wise. And it made coherent sense, but Falcon Winter Soldier was just a boring mess. So boring. All right, let's see. Let's talk Dwayne Johnson. A lot of movie news this week. It's from Screen Rant. Dwayne Johnson confirms Black Adam has finished filming. That's a cool image. Dwayne Johnson shares a Black Adam set video celebrating the end of filming. The upcoming DCEU film will reunite Johnson with Jungle Cruise director James, Colette Sarah, and center on his titular anti-hero previously known as Teth Adam, a slave from Kandak who is granted superpowers by the ancient wizard Shazam. After abusing his newly found powers, Adam spends multiple millennia in prison and goes on to become the arch nemesis of the superhero Shazam. No, the superhero Captain Marvel. Shazam is a wizard. With few plot details to work with, it's unclear how much of this mythology Black Adam will adapt, given the character's connection to Captain Marvel. He was originally planned to debut in the 2019 DCEU film Shazam, but this plan was scrapped in favor of a solo star vehicle for Johnson, who is currently one of the biggest box office draws working today. The film has assembled a decent ensemble around him with Pierce Brosnan, Aldous Hodge, Noah Centineo, and Quintessa Swindle. Oh my God, name people normal names. Why is there no Bills anymore? All starring as members of the Justice Society of America, though it's unclear if they will act as allies or adversaries for the title character. Probably adversaries. Black Adam began filming in April, and there's been plenty of teases throughout the production process. Now The Rock confirms that filming is finished in a video recorded on the set in front of a giant LED screen. A heartfelt thank you to the cast and crew. The actor called the movie a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that will define his career. The set video's in here. I don't really care about that. He's getting kind of old. Let's see. The blah, blah, blah. It's been my true honor. Okay, he's sucking up to the crew. Johnson shared another video a week ago announcing Black Adam had entered its final week of production, and right on schedule, the DCEU production has now officially wrapped filming. Black Adam had surely had a long, tough road at getting to this point, as it spent years stuck in development hell. Once it was finally ready to enter production, the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused infinite delays. Black Adam's release date was pushed back multiple times. At one point, it was scheduled to debut this year, but WB settled on a summer 2022 premiere. That's probably a better idea. Once Black Adam began filming, it didn't experience any further delays, a notable accomplishment amidst the still ongoing global pandemic. Not that the production had wrapped, the wait for the first live-action look at Johnson's costume is still ongoing, which will likely be followed by a teaser trailer of some sort. With DC fandom being held again this fall, this will be an opportune time for those first looks at Black Adam. So I think they've probably got to do some pickup stuff where they have some shot didn't work out, or there was a glitch or something, and they have to reshoot minor scenes or a little fill-in scenes. But aside from those kind of pickup things, it looks like Black Adam's pretty well on its way to being done, and that is pretty cool. I am looking forward to this because I think the character looks really cool. He's got a great costume, and The Rock is really good casting for him. And the fact that Justice Society is going to be in it should be pretty cool. But I'm sure they're going to have some. I know that the chick playing Cyclone is supposed to be a redhead, but now she's black. So there'll be more of that. Yeah, Shazam's a wizard's name. His name is Captain Marvel. But DC capitulated after the big lawsuit years ago, and now they probably don't have the money to fight with Marvel over the name, even though Fawcett had it first. Marvel pretty much bullied them into submission years ago, and they're just pussing out now. Reviews from heel versus babyface. I don't know who that is. Coherent sense is not the phrase I would use. Fair enough. Shazam was pretty good. My dad liked it. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It was a good kids movie. That's really what it was aimed at, and they need to do more of that, where they aim movies at younger people. And for what it was fine. Costuming Johnson will be shirtless as much as possible. Quite likely. I don't know. They'd probably have to cover his tattoos, though, because he's got a lot of tribal tattoos that would make zero sense. All right. We got 4 more articles here. Let's dive into Film Threat founder Chris Gore eviscerates Star Wars, Justice League, and modern Hollywood. claims 99% of blockbuster films are garbage. This is from Bounding into Comics. Film Threat founder and publisher Chris Gore recently did an interview with Film Courage where he explained why 99% of modern movies are garbage. Because they insert hackneyed political crap. Gore was asked by Film Courage, why would you say that 99% of movies today are garbage? He responded, in an age where most movies are referred to as content, I would say that 99% of most movies are pretty bad. When I say 99%, I mean of the mainstream. Gore went on to cite Zack Snyder's Justice League and Star Wars. One of the best examples of this sort is of Zack Snyder's Justice League and how it was bungled, and how that was bungled, and how the Star Wars franchise was bungled. Yeah, you're not wrong. To me, I'm the studio executive in charge of Star Wars, and we're making a new Star Wars movie, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put out Han, Luke, and Leia in a scene together. Yeah, that would have made sense. And the fact the moment we will never be able to have that moment in cinema where Carrie Fisher was alive, that to me that's malpractice. That's studio malpractice. Oh, yeah. That's what everybody's been saying for like 3 years. He then turned to Justice League. The fact that they had with Zack Snyder's vision, what he was building up to be. Oh my God, where did this guy learn to talk? I think seeing the 4-hour final product of what Zack Snyder's Justice League turned out to be, and that they made this garbage thing, Joss Whedon, it's disheartening to me to see that. Joss Whedon's movie was bad. Gore continued, I will say that on an indie level, I tend to take a glass half full view, and I tend to always look for the positive when it comes to indie films, because you can't compare an indie movie show in 12 days for $10,000 to Justice League, whatever your version you're talking about. You can't compare. That's actually a pretty reasonable assessment, because in my mind, there's no excuse for a studio to fail when they put out a blockbuster movie. Your job is to entertain me, not lecture me. Not lecture me. Your job is to entertain me. Is this guy autistic? Dark side. Gore then zeroed in on Hollywood studios' obsession with checking boxes. Unfortunately, we live in a time back in the day when Star Wars was first made. I feel like they were checking one box and it was called fun. Oh, they don't have that box anymore. They gave that away at a garage sale. He asserted, and now there's a million boxes that must be checked. There are all sorts of noting and committees, and this thing and this is where you end up with the last Star Wars movie by J.J. Abrams is unwatchable. I mean, it's garbage. It informs exactly everything wrong with the studio system. It's terrible. Or then questioned what was running through the studio executives' minds. So I look at the Justice League debacle, the Star Wars franchise, and how this was mishandled, and I look at that and I just think, how could that have been done? Were they ever looking at the fans and what they think? What are you, high? What do the fans think of this stuff? Are they satisfying the fans? Most normal people don't care. Is it entertaining? No, they don't give a shit about any of that. He added, I take my family, especially how expensive it is to the movie theater experience, which is going away. The theatrical experience of seeing movies going away. You had better entertain me. Not wrong. Movies are way too expensive now, and that's the studio's fault more than anything. Gore then claimed Hollywood is actually leaving money on the table by inserting politics in their films. We've all been saying this for like years. It just took this guy to get an article about it. And I think that whether Hollywood notices it or not, I think that people really don't like politics woven into fairly mainstream, which should be mainstream entertainment experiences. And I think we're seeing that more and more. It's unbelievable to me. I think you're leaving money on the table, not giving what the customer is looking for in that experience. Or then points to one of the major problems of the studio system. The marketing for these movies is so good, the product doesn't live up to the marketing. I got chills watching the trailer for Rise of Skywalker. I was so excited to see that movie. I was a kid when I saw Star Wars. I'm seeing the 9th movie in the saga. I can't believe how horrible it turned out. It's really tome, it's malpractice, what happened to that franchise, and how it's divided fandom, fighting over things that are really irrelevant. Well, not entirely irrelevant, he said. Gore then pointed out the toxicity coming out of Lucasfilm, the fact that you see people from within the company attack the fans. It's just like I hate to see it because nerds are my people. I go to San Diego Comic-Con every year. I have since the 90s. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I hate to see it because nerds are my people. I go to San Diego Comic Con every year. I have since the 90s gone to San Diego Comic Con. And so to see people fractured over this is really disheartening. He would later lament the lack of vision in Hollywood. Where are the executives? I mean, other than maybe like coming from the mind of a Kevin Feige, who is quickly selling out to the woke crowd, which maybe his best days are behind him. I can't think of a studio executive that is a visionary these days. True story. Gore then posited that the American identity is fading away and that the 70s were the last great era of American filmmaking. I really can't disagree too much like that. The 80s was pretty good, but the 70s really were much better for films. He explained, when we look at the 70s being the last great era of American filmmaking, we really are losing that American identity because we've become so fractured as a culture. And I think that where's the movie that we all love without debate, that we all loved? I don't know that there is one. You're not wrong. I mean, look at all these images of men. Gore noted, it's not just about Star Wars and Zack Snyder's Justice League. At the end of the day, I miss loving Star Wars. I miss loving it. I used to love it, and now I'm saddened by that franchise. I'm using that as like the best example. There's a lot of other examples. We could talk about the Terminator franchise. We could talk about Star Trek. We could talk about these sorts of dead franchises that have sort of lost their way. He then circled back to the discussion on visionaries. I'm afraid we're just never going to see another George Lucas, right? We're never going to see another real creative visionary that changes the industry because everything is so corporate. What did Francis Ford Coppola say? Factory filmmaking. That's the age we live in. There's factory filmmaking, which is the product and content, and then there's up-and-coming indie filmmakers, Gore asserted. Finally, he concluded, when I talk about checking those boxes earlier, a lot of it has to do with appeal. A lot of it is going to appeal internationally. I mean, let's be honest. The box office internationally, especially in China, is much bigger than the United States. He added that market, those dollars, so you can't make a movie for the United States anymore. You have to make a movie for the world, which is fine, but in a way that's sort of diluting our identity as a people, as Americans, as we become more fractured, and it's distressing to see. Yeah, and a lot of it is people want to watch American movies. They don't want to watch a bunch of stuff pandering to them. So they're actually leaving a lot of money on the table by that. That's why movies like the new Star Wars movies have never landed in China. And a lot of movies aren't landing in China. They're just wasting cash. Like, look at Mulan. That really tanked in China. And that was a Chinese story. Gore is far from the first person to point out these problems with Hollywood. Numerous YouTube personalities have pointed this out, from Gary Bucheller at Nerdrotic, Overlord DVD, Jeremy Griggs at Geeks and Gamers, Andre. I don't care about this. Okay, stop sucking up. But maybe more importantly is that people within Hollywood are starting to make these observations as well. Most recently, the Suicide Squad director James Gunn decried most modern superhero films as boring. Well, maybe. Well, I don't think they can sexy him up the way you would like there, James Gunn. He stated, they're mostly boring to me right now. Laughs. I loved them at the beginning, and there are still people trying to do different things with them. So that's not a 100% rule, but a lot of them are boring. All right, so that's pretty well the tone of it. He's not wrong, and he's not saying anything new, but it is nice to see somebody with a little more standing like him, because he's from Film Threat. So that actually gives a little bit more credibility to what the fans have been saying for a long time now. Let me catch up with the chat here. They could just add fake tattoos over them, the slave tattoos. Yeah, you're not wrong, Evolved. Black Adam could have like some cool Egyptian tattoos or something. I know naming each of the 6 immortals and start calling out Shazam, occasionally getting knocked out before he finishes. This guy sounds like he's going to get a sudden case of the SADS. Yeah. Some people are slow learners, Ryan. That's why he didn't realize it. The 80s up to the mid-90s. Yeah, I would say that there were a lot of good movies in the mid-90s, but not nearly as many as there were in like this. There were fewer movies in the 70s. In the 80s, with the rise of VHS tapes being more widely available because of rentals, you saw a lot of lower budget movies coming in. And I think a lot more movies got made then. But yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, Ghostbusters, we could put on that list too. Who's Scott? Hi, Scott. The only overseas market that really matters for money is Japan. China is the biggest market, but the government takes so much share it's almost lost. Yeah, that's why ticket prices are so high. They got to make They got to make their money back on ticket sales. China is really not that good of a market. They just seem to think it is, but they keep losing cash by having to give over massive amounts to the CCP. Yeah, it hasn't happened and won't. You're not wrong at all, Oki. You're 100% right. Yeah, we haven't had good movies in a long time. You know what else hasn't happened in a long time? I haven't shilled. I've been trying to keep from doing that by pinning that at the top. But, yeah, you know, gotta do it occasionally. All right. We got 3 articles left. And up first, you ain't shilled in a few days. Yeah, I know. I've been really bad about that. That's probably why I broke. DC Comics announces Catwoman and Human Target solo Black Label books. Black Label is the adult entry, and Human Target was an interesting concept. They did a TV show that was very short-lived about it. But this guy poses as somebody else so that that somebody trying to kill them will come after him instead. It was a cool concept. And this looks like old lady Catwoman. So we're going to get post-menopause Catwoman, it looks like. But Black Label is the adult label series. So this is bounding into comics. DC Comics announced both Catwoman and Human Target, surprisingly, will be receiving their own respective Black Label solo series this fall. I'm actually interested in the Human Target one. That could be really cool. Cliff Chiang, Wonder Woman Volume 4, and Images Paper Girls will helm Selena Kyle's Prestige Plus format series, Catwoman Lonely City, providing both the book's story and artwork. Set 10 years after an event known as the Fool's Night Massacre, which ended in the deaths of Batman, Joker, Commissioner Gordon, Nightwing, Catwoman Lonely City will follow the eponymous feline fatale as she steps into an almost unrecognizably clean and safe Gotham City after serving a 10-year prison sentence. And is this the art? Dear God, that's hideous. Why does she have a man's chest? Like, that is a barrel chest right there. Her tuck game must be great. God, that art looks like shit. What is with the modern love of pastel coloring for night? That looks like trash. I've never seen a nighttime that looked like an Easter egg. Or so it seems. Looking at the situation more closely, Catwoman soon realizes that the city has lost its freedom to its new mayor, Harvey Dent, and his Bat Cop task force. Oh no, it's the evil cops. Oh, that's so original. Look at that. Interestingly, as the series takes place sometime in Gotham's post-Batman future at the time of Catwoman's release from prison, Mayor Harvey Dent can be seen sporting his scarred visage from his time as the villainous Two-Face. Well, maybe he didn't get reconstruction surgery, whatever. That art does not look good. According to DC's blog post announcing the title, though Catwoman will enter the world of Lonely City as a changed woman. Yeah, she had menopause. Old habits die hard as her mind becomes occupied by pulling off one last big score. A secret within the Batcave which may reveal the identity of the mysterious Orpheus, which you haven't mentioned up till now. However, though, this presumably updated version of the pre-New 52 Batman villain of the same name clearly has a part to play in Catwoman's story. As of now, what that role is remains unknown. God, look at this color scheme. You guys drop a lot of acid before you worked on this book? Holy fuck, that looks... Look at that guy's arm. Oh my God. Ugh. Yeah, again, the colors are hideous in this. This bright yellow with this seafoam green. Ugh. Ugh. God, that's hideous. Notably changed as she may be, Catwoman's costume design will take inspiration from her vintage Batman the Animated Series appearance. Running a total of 48-page single issues, Catwoman Lonely City will be released through DC's mature Black Label in October. So this is just an Elseworld story, and God, these colors are pissing me off. And why is there no Batman when there are 3 other Robins? They just said that Nightwing bought it, but they didn't say anything about Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, or Jason Todd. Or even Spoiler, for that matter. She was a Robin for 10 seconds. And where is Batgirl? From Shang, we go to a writer who's also known a little something about Batman and Catwoman, and Tom King. Oh, for fuck's sake. Never mind. I'm not buying this. Who will take the cult favorite title Human Torch in a new 12-issue maxi series? Look at that art, too. What is going on with these shit artists? This is 60s pop art crap. That wasn't good then. Nobody liked it. It was just something that was popular. This Tom King. Fuck off. Stop ruining things, Tom. Joining King as artist Greg Smallwood as the pair create a new legacy for DC's deadliest bodyguard and Human Target. A 12-issue limited series based on the character co-created by Len Wein and Carmine Infanto, 2 people that are vastly superior at their job than Tom King and probably Greg Smallwood. Limited series chronicles the notorious stand-in and investigator Christopher Chance on his latest unenviable task, protecting the ultimate bad guy Lex Luthor. When it goes awry and an attempt is made on Luthor's life, Chance is left with only 12 days to figure out just who wanted the sinister businessman dead, a line that starts forming around the figurative block in the DCU. Look at this coloring here, too. What are with these? Did you guys get a really good deal on blues, pinks, and yellows? The first mention of a character named the Human Target in DC's bibliography was in the pages of 1953's Detective Comics 201, where a disguised specialist, Fred Venable, in his only appearance, tangled with Batman himself. His successor, Christopher Chance, would be introduced 2 decades later by Swamp Thing co-creator Len Wein and veteran Flash artist Carmine Infantino in Action Comics 419. The concept was later adapted for a Fox TV series, which for a short time was available on DC Universe. There's a T in Universe here, you guys. Missed that. That starred Mark Valley and lasted 2 seasons, which were once available on DC Universe, which you just said. Edit, man. Edit. Both titles available through DC's Black Label. Chiang's Catwoman, Lonely City will premiere October 19th, and King and Smallwood will be ruining Human Target in November. I would have checked out Human Target until I saw it was by Tom King. And that art is kind of shit, but I'd be willing to look the other way if the story was good. But it's Tom King, so he's going to have a lot of mommy issues. He's going to be a beta or probably gay. So, yep, that's going to be garbage. So, 2 shitty books coming out from DC. Good job. Did they have leftover ink for Pride Month? I don't know. They've been doing that for a couple months. Oh, thank you for the donation, Okie Native. I started spending my comic money on manga and tabletop games. Lots of work for them to do before I go give it back to the industry. Yeah, absolutely, man. You gotta be careful with some of those tabletop games too. They're getting pretty woke. That's the latest infection of the woke cultists. And thank you again, Oki, for the donation. The color scheme makes perfect sense if it's an Exorcist crossed over. Split piece soup. You're not wrong, man. You are not wrong. It's fucking disgusting. Lunatics are running this asylum. Yeah. And rulers, everything is square. Yeah, apparently they didn't have a compass or anything. Tumblr artists, list of credits. Yeah, they've been getting a lot of discount artists. Instead of finding people with talent that will work cheap, they're finding just anyone that walks in the door or somebody's friend, I guess. Manga is probably better than new Western comics. You're not wrong. There are some good comics out there. You just have to look for them and be willing to pay the $4 or $5 for them, and that is getting harder and harder to do. It doesn't have to make sense, Shady, because they wanted a bad guy who's the face of evil cops, and Harvey was a former district attorney, so it's lazy. Yeah, they do actually hire Tumblr artists, Wolf. Unfortunately, that's not a joke. Yeah, basically the plot of Catwoman is what they're doing now with Batman, with the Simon Saint storyline that is really, really dumb. And it's going to lead into Future State where Batman gets to be black now. So you get blackface Batman. And Bruce Wayne is semi-retired. Just like they're doing with Superman, they're replacing him with his son. And Superman's going off into space. So, and that's going to be a different title altogether. It's really, really dumb. And I think they're going to hurt themselves more. DC is already on the verge of getting shut down. And they start playing games like this. It really is blowing up in their face. And I've seen a lot of people not buying their books that used to buy their books. You're not wrong, Oki, but they could find some people that are willing to do some art for a reasonable price. And like I said before, I think they really need to go to the manga size where they're doing like 100 pages or more stories and doing them quarterly and going to a black and white model if they have to and putting them in the same size, digest size book. And I think they would be doing way better. But they're very slow to change, and I don't think the people there are willing to take those kind of risks. If they were smart, they'd do what Marvel did, and Marvel just re-released their Marvel Masterworks Volume 1s for Amazing Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, and they put them in a $16 book, which was actually really nice. It was a little shorter, and it was full color, and if they'd reprint stuff that way, those would sell way better because those were flying off the shelf at the comic shops. And they can't get any more in stock. They've depleted all of them. But even like normie kids were buying those. So, because I was asking around at the comic shops, and they're like, yeah, we can't keep them in. You're not wrong, Evolved. There's a lot of talent in porn. Doing digital artwork sales and technical manuals. Yeah, there's a lot of money in that. Cover artist is usually the best artist because they pay more. And they don't tell them anything about the story. There's just here's this and make a cover. Yeah, that's why so many books are just pinups. They don't have anything to do with what's going on in the story, and that actually hurts sales because there's a lot of people that don't want to drop $4 on a cover because it doesn't tell you anything about what's going on in the book. And a lot of times the art is so vastly superior on the cover that the interior art is dog shit. Look at Dynamite and Dark Horse and most of Marvel for that. So they just do a pinup where people are posing. It tells you nothing about it, and people just walk on by. Because if you're not already picking that book up, why would you take the chance? There's no sense of peril. There's nothing to draw you in. Half the time, they don't even have the masthead at the top anymore. It's somewhere down in the corner, so you can't see the trade dress. You don't know what the issue number is. You just see part of a cover sticking up from the shelf. And no one's going to take that chance. It's just not worth it. Spent $5 to $6 on a cover alone, and the story was trash, and the art was passable at best. Yep, we've all done it. I'm smart. I just buy the original cover art. Well, there's that too. Yeah, I wish I could afford stuff like that, Jim, but unfortunately, I can't. But that is pretty freaking awesome. Jim, are you going to get the new Boba Fett or the big Galactus figure? Because I know you've got some of the sideshow stuff. I was curious if you were going to do that. Usagi Ojimbo is better art than most comics. That's an odd statement. Yeah, that's because Usagi is all done by Stan Sky, and he has a very simplistic art style. That's why John Byrne was able to pump out tons of books. His art style was clean and simple. He didn't bog it down, and it worked. It's not an art style that's in favor anymore, though. They want lots of detailing and lines, and that's not always necessary to get a comic across. And if you're trying to do something like a manga, that art style would actually work really well. Not much of a comic person. Nope, not my genre. Fair enough. If it's at least as good as the Iron Man version, I'm going to pick up the Galactus maybe 4. Yeah, man, you could probably make pretty good money reselling those. Is there a good website to price comics for selling? Yeah, just go to eBay and look at completed sales. And then look at the condition and compare it to what you've got, and then plus or minus a little bit. Just find the average price between like 4 or 5 different ones and take it from there. That's usually the easiest way to do it. Otherwise, you could try looking stuff up in the Overstreet price guide and then divide that by 4, and that's what you'll get out of it. But eBay is probably the best way to check. All right, now let's talk about Forbes. Well, I'm glad you're here, Wolf. Forbes, what the hell is going on with the collectible comics market? This is from a couple days ago, or last month, rather. Somebody sent me this. Sorry, I don't remember who. 2020 was a pretty good year for many investment, but one class of assets is nosebleed level of growth that has shocked even longtime market watchers: vintage comics and original comic book art. Though there's no market index to quantify growth in this area, the results of large public auctions provide some transparency into the value that buyers place in the variety of benchmark items. On this basis, the evidence is stark. Last week, Heritage Auctions demolished records and shattered expectations with a $22.4 million haul from its recent sale of high-grade collectible comics, surpassing its recent high water mark of 16.5 in April. Wow, that's exponentially going up. The auction results were led by a new pedigree collection called the Promise Collection, featuring nearly 5,000 comics that were bought off the newsstands in the 1940s and preserved in perfect condition for the past 70 years. 181 of those books sold in the June auction realized $7.1 million in just 4 hours. An additional 93 books added $800,000 to the next day total, and the remainder of the collection will be auctioned throughout 2021 and 2022. A mid-grade copy, which is a 5, of Detective Comics 27, featuring the debut of Batman, sold for $1.125 million. Not a record because the higher grade copies go for more, but still a landmark. And one-of-a-kind works of original comic art continued their steep price increase, with iconic pieces setting new highs in the upper 6 figures. Anecdotal reports from dealers and collectors suggest that prices at smaller auctions, public sales, and private transactions have increased well over 100% across the board in recent months, with some highly desired or unusual items seeing growth of magnitude higher. Facebook groups and private forums are overflowing with comments of seasoned collectors expressing surprise, dismay, and occasionally delight at the skyrocketing prices of items that until recently were not seen as top-tier collectibles, raising fears that ordinary collectors could get priced out of the hobby. Several factors may be contributing to the boom, though the pandemic sidelined in-person conventions and auctions where many expensive collectibles changed hands, sometimes through impulse purchases. More serious buyers had the time to focus and pursue their collections online. Rising markets, including in areas like cryptocurrency, may have led to a wealth effect, encouraging people to open their wallets wider for discretionary passion purchases. Although the practice of getting the condition of comics graded by third-party agencies like Comics Guarantee Corporation, CGC, has now been around for nearly 2 decades, painting a clearer picture of the exact number of copies of rare issues in existence and painting targets on certain high-grade issues for blue-chip buyers. I'm not a big fan of graded comics because I want to read my comics. I'm a collector in that sense, but I never really got too heavily into speculator stuff like the graded books. It just wasn't for me. I just thought that stuff, if you're trying to do investment stuff, I just like reading comics. Beyond that are extrinsic factors. Collectible comics are a store of value and one that can easily be stored and transported, making the format attractive to individuals who prefer to maintain part of their wealth discreetly. There's also storing them is a pain in the ass, and they're heavy boxes too. There's also the matter of momentum. Big gains in the market brings in money that's seeking returns, irrespective of the intrinsic value of the underlying asset. Comics are ordinarily not the easiest market to crack because of the huge amount of esoteric knowledge necessary to identify what makes certain books collectible. But all bets are off if everything is going up in up in value in huge chunks. The expert perspective on trends in the market, I spoke to Lon Allen, Vice President of Comics Administration for Heritage Auctions. Our conversation has been edited for, okay, we're going to get into an interview. Notable exceptions results from the recent auctions. And Lon said, we're expecting the Promised Collection to do very, very well, and it did. But even it really outpaced any expectations we had. One of the top books was Detective Comics 140, featuring the first appearance of Riddler, highest grade known copy, going for $456,000. Now, I thought it was a six-figure book the first time I saw it, and I thought it might be $200,000. But for it to hit a number like that was even more surprising. Same thing with another Phantom Lady number 17. Again, we know it's a great book. It's a super desirable book for 50 years. But for it to go close to $500,000, then one might be surprised by its first. Be surprised it's the first appearance of Ghost Rider, Marvel Spotlight number 5 from 1972. The guy who brought that in, when he told me that he thought it was a six-figure book. I thought he was crazy. For that to go for $250,000, that was just hard to believe. Oh yeah, well that's a 9.6. Wow, that's a beautiful condition. But yeah, it looks like if you've got some high-grade comics, might be a good time to sell some of them. A lot of this is because of the pandemic. People have time on their hands, and they're kind of just solidifying what they want to buy. And it's also getting people back into their hobbies. We're seeing that with the Pokemon cards and the baseball cards where the one dude almost got robbed and he had to shoot a guy. So sports cards and Pokemon cards and even some comic collectors are getting back into it, but they're getting the vintage stuff. They're not getting the new stuff. So it's not too surprising to normies, or to the insiders, but to the normies it probably is. Tagged you on Twitter. Oh, I'll check it out right after the stream, man. I'll have to comment a few videos back. I thought it looked like IDW Metal Posts, but that's about it. Yeah, the My Little Pony stuff has got a real strong following. I don't think it's a good idea for them to cancel the current series, because even my comic shop sells, like the one I go to, primarily, of the three that I go to, they all sell My Little Pony books. They don't all three sell Transformers, which is also an IDW title, but they all three sell My Little Ponies because people come in with their kids. And not only do you have the adults, like the Brony types or just the My Little Pony fans that buy them, but you've got the kids that come in with their parents. They want something to read too, because they see their parent getting one. And that's a title that both genders will pick up. Yeah, there's only two. So there's that. But ending it to go into this new series, I think, is a big mistake for IDW, because they've got a steady following. Sell bulk rate for store credit at the local comic shop. They would pay a little more because it was 80s, 90s stuff, slightly more popular at the time, a couple years ago. Yeah, the 80s and 90s stuff is always going to be more popular than the modern crap. Get rid of 30 pounds of comics setting up a wheel. Garage sale and flea markets was $1 a spin. I win 1 to 3 comics. Nice. I love getting comics at flea markets because usually you could get them for like 50 cents to $1, and you could get really good stuff. When I was a kid, that's how I got Silver Age books. One time I was sick and couldn't go, and my mom comes home with some Captain America comics. And it was 115 through like 123, and she got them for $1 a piece. And I eventually got issue 100 for $6. I don't have it anymore, unfortunately. I wish I still did. But I had the entire Captain America run from 100 through when the series ended the first time, under right before Rob Liefeld took over with the volume 2. And I had most of the Mark Waid stuff after that. I think I had volumes 1, 2, and most of 3 and 4. So yeah, those places you still have people that don't know what they have. But you'll have a lot of people that think their stuff is worth like $30 because they saw a mint condition one go for $30 on eBay, and they think it's worth $30, but it's really like a 50-cent copy because the cover's barely hanging on. But yeah, it's amazing the stuff you can find if you look hard. You can still find some good deals out there. They're great comics to preserve them, and only when they're unique. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't judge people for doing that. It's just not my thing. Porn does sell. What? And the IDW writers are pretty good. I don't think they get nearly the recognition they deserve because they have a lot more limited ability to create because they have to run everything through the license holders first and see if they'll approve it. And that's really tricky because like the Marvel books that they put out, like the Captain Marvel and the Spider-Man books, they have to go to Marvel and get those approved before they can put them out. Same with Transformers, same with My Little Pony. All the Hasbro licenses they have, which they really need to make more use of. They don't have that much original stuff, and they've pretty well burned out what they've got by trying to do TV shows and stuff like that. But their crossover stuff has been amazing. The Star Trek Transformers was a lot of fun. It was accessible by all ages, and it could be appreciated. But if you knew the animated series from the 70s, you could appreciate what that was and really get into the comic series. And the crossover they did with G.I. Joe, where they actually had $6 Million Man versus G.I. Joe, that was awesome. Great guest appearances, too, in that one. I love when they put prices on the cover. Oh, that annoys me to no end. Although a hairdryer will get those off. You keep a hairdryer about a foot away and sweep it back and forth over the sticker, and it will usually re-adhese the glue, and you can gently try and peel it off. Hey, Lester, how you doing? Yeah, you can get away with quite a lot if you have license holders that don't give quite as much of a fuck, and Hasbro doesn't seem to care too much. I think that's actually why they're switching the My Little Pony thing. Is Hasbro came in and said, we're doing this new thing. We want you to divert over here. But they seem to have been doing pretty well with Sonic. It seems to sell pretty decent. My Little Pony, the comic shop that I primarily go to, sells about 8 copies a month. And I don't know how that's going to work with this new series, but they may lose some sales on that. The Transformers only does like 3 or 4. Yeah, that does seem to be the fact. Is Hasbro only cares if you pay them, and you know what? That's fair. I get that. All right, last article. I've saved the most exciting one, or annoying, if you're me, for last, and that is from Bounding into Comics. Black Widow star David Harbour says he doesn't know that there's anyone who could disagree with socialist ideology. Go outside your network there, buddy. Taking a page out of the ideological playbook of the Black Widow character, the communism-loving Soviet super soldier, Red Guardian, actor David Harbour, recently shared his disbelief at the idea that there's anyone who could disagree with socialist ideology. Well, it's easy when you're rich. Poor people have to work for their money. Harbour offered his opinion on socialism during a recent interview with The Guardian, ironically, telling staff writer Alexei Dugins that much like his Red Guardian character, quote, I don't know that there's anyone who could disagree with socialist ideology, end quote. If you work at Starbucks and you make the coffee, then you should own it, exclaimed Harbour. You're the one making the coffee. Do you own the films you're in? Hypocrite. However, the Stranger Things star was not above admitting that the fact is that the implementation of these things has led to some of the deepest fascism in our society. So people assuming that communism means fascism to a certain degree. It does, you idiot. They were the National Socialists. That's a terrible thing, he added, before going on to explain that his ideal form of socialism was not a fascistic society where people are punished for stepping out of ideological line, like every communist country, but rather one more akin to a kindergarten-type society where we share things. That's adorable, you baby brain smoothhead. Look, his balding really it does an amazing job of hiding the Zippy the Pinhead point. That's my ideal society, asserted Harbour. Yeah, mine involves unicorns and laser beams. Fuck off, you idiot. As opposed to this world where we're hunting and killing and destroying for our own personal hoarding and our own personal greed. You mean like Somalia? Or in like Ukraine where people were selling each other's body parts for food? To that end, in the same interview, the actor also noted that he had quit social media following the realization that he felt like nothing more than a cog in a greedy tech machine that isn't geared toward beautifying humanity in any sort of way. Oh, God, lay off the weed, hippie. What do you think of Harbour's outlook on socialism? I think he's a fucking idiot. He looks like a hippie. So, yeah, this is more smooth brain nonsense. These Hollywood people are so separated from the rest of us that they really have no idea what struggle is. You're not wrong, Dark. Fuck David Harbour. Ever since that fuckwad acceptance of Stranger Things, I wanted to see him brought low. Yeah, I agree. I think he's an idiot. And this is a childish way of looking at things, hence the kindergarten analogy. We just share things. Yeah, until you walk in his house and take something. Hey, that's mine. No, it's not. It's everybody's. There's no theft in socialism. You own whether or not you make the coffee. You can, yeah. Why would I dislike socialist ideology? Why would I dislike working the same job without the chance to save up for stuff I want? Well, there won't be anything to buy because the stores all be empty unless you're of the party. Balding hipster. You're not wrong. He's trying too hard to fit in. That really kind of pissed me off, so I wanted to save that one for last. Because a lot of these Hollywood types are so out of touch, and some of them are just saying stuff to get in good with their future producers or whatnot. But he's a big enough star. He could work forever doing Lifetime movies or whatever he's going to do when Stranger Things fails. You will own nothing and be happy. You're not wrong. Nobody can seem to point to a successful communist facility outside of like 200 people. Like a couple of communes that lasted for a while that were usually still on the welfare dole of some kind, or like a collective of cultists that lived out in the middle of fucking nowhere and eventually everybody just wandered off or died. You know, if you want to go be a bunch of Zoroastrians or something, that's fine, but don't expect everybody else to bend to your will and do it. You just take away. You don't give anything. We're seeing that now with the education system, and I'm going to get a slight political rant here because we've seen schools now taking away higher tier mathematics because it's unfair that some people can go to those. And that's the type of shit we're seeing, where mediocrity is the new baseline. And we're seeing it in comics, ironically, where we have mediocre artwork and storytelling being passed off as something that you have to have. And these ham-fisted storytelling techniques by hack writers being called excellent, and they're not. They're just lazy, and that's the new standard, is laziness. It pisses me off. Denies my own right to my own labor and my right to sell as I see fit. Yeah, but you're not an individual under those type of systems. You're a cog, and you're part of a collective. Then an individual can't exist inside of a collective. It's antithetical to that system. So unless you're one of the upper crust elites, which you're never going to achieve unless a whole bunch of people die and somehow you get promoted, which is very, very unlikely, you're never going to achieve beyond whatever job you're assigned. So fuck that idiot, and fuck his stupid communism, and fuck China while we're at it too. All right, now that all that's out of my system, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Thank you, Oki, for the donations. And I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. We had a really good turnout. And I'm glad to see everybody here. And hopefully we'll see you all next week on the next Friday Night Comics. And until then, do something exciting so I can pretend I did it. Good night, everybody, and have a safe and lovely evening.